Greetings, everybody. We're so happy to have you here at New Thought Talk Show, where we talk about new things that are happening in our society today, and perhaps it'll give you a new thought or ignite a fire inside of you to make a change. And today I have my homies, T. Fish, Terrence Fisher, our host, and we got my co-host right here, Edwin Brown.
So listen, everybody, listen, we're about to jump into a topic that's really, really touchy, that can probably, get some people upset. I want to lay this out for everybody from the beginning and say that we're having a conversation to just talk, just to spark some thought and to, go into maybe some ideas and stuff that we may not have considered before about this certain topic. And the topic is religion. Now, I know this can be, again, sort of touchy to people, so I hope we're not trying to offend anybody with what we're talking about.
We're not trying to offend. We just hope we don't.
There you have it, people. So, my question to you guys is religion a good thing?
That's a very broad,
It is.
open. Sure, religion is a good thing.
How so?
Sure, it's a bad thing.
There you have it, folks. We end our show now. No, go ahead.
Who starts first? You want to talk with the good or the bad? Let's start with the bad, and maybe I can ease it over with the good.
Well, the bad thing is it's used to manipulate people, and it's used as a reason to do malicious things, hurting people or treating people bad, judging people.
In the name of Jesus, in the name of Allah, in the name of Buddha.
Definitely. So in some sense, yeah, it can be used if it's in the wrong hands, if you'd like to say it like that.
But I think that's the case with anything. Anything in the wrong hands will be definitely altered. And why I believe organized religion, and let's talk about that. Why I believe that's a good thing is when we come together, we have a sense of community. We have a sense of common goals that we're striving. And most religions, whether it's being a Buddhist or Christian or Muslim, it's really to do good for all mankind. I don't think, with the exception of, you got your satanic worshipers, but most religions, the dominant religions, are about doing good and being the best that you can be and helping the world. And somehow we take our personal ideas and perspectives, and that's where the bad comes in, and we twist it and twerk it to fit whatever it is we're doing, right or wrong. And particularly when it's wrong, we try to justify that I come in the name of, you fill in the blank. And that gives them the right to do whatever it is that they desire to do.
So you mentioned a sense of community. So if the purpose of it is to bring us together and have a sense of community, what that community is built on is certain ideals and certain goals, like you mentioned. But what if those goals are, from what we're suggesting here, what if those goals and ideals are nothing but manipulations of somebody else's idiosyncrasies?
Oh, here we go.
Well, it's hard to determine that. I'm going to say that in the perspective of someone that's under that influence that you mentioned. It's hard to determine that when your faith is strong. And what I'm coming from is what sticks out in my mind is the Jim Jones thing. All those people, they went down to where they went, and they were very.
They went down, all right. Literally.
I mean, they were very
No
enwrapped. They were wrapped up in the religion. They thought they were doing good. They were proving their faith. But the person above them that was leading them that wasn't his intent. He had other plans for them, and even maybe from his perspective, he thought he was doing something good up until a certain point. So yeah, I mean, it's all, like we talk all the time, that it's all relative. What viewpoint you're in.
That's true.
So
it's like David Koresh too in Waco, Texas. That goes on and on. And just recently here in Africa, the pastor had their members eat live snakes and tell them it was going to taste like chocolate.
Oh my God! Have you heard the one with it was some African preacher or something that had the women of his church to not wear any underwear. Did you see that?
And What holy connection were they gaining from this absence of panties?
Listen, okay. This is funny, but okay, listen. Okay, I don't know. I'm I'm the messenger, so I'll shoot the messenger.
No shots being fired here.
From what I understand, that he was saying that these panties are restrictive, and they're of Satan, of the devil. That's
He wanted them to worship him freely.
freely. There you have it, ladies.
I don't know why the bras were, but
Don't wear panties to church.
Oh,
We're completely kidding, y'all. But no, seriously, it's so we see ideals and stuff like that get superimposed in religions and stuff all the time. So, and then people have strong faith-based lifestyles based on those type of things. For somebody to follow somebody and jump off a building or jump off a cliff or whatever it is,
or drink the Kool-Aid.
whatever the case may be, or not wear pennies to church, whatever the case may be, there are people who have faith in those things. So I'm back to my original question is, I guess better stated, is how is religion then serving us?
Okay, so I'm thinking you're under the mindset that religion doesn't serve us.
No. I'm asking a question.
Okay.
I would say it doesn't, to
Uh-oh.
be honest with you. I mean, and let me give you
Please.
my viewpoint.
Let's hear it.
If you go to some of the worst neighborhoods in this country, I mean, places you just dare not go because you know evil is going on in those neighborhoods.
Evil is on
There's
every
a church
hand.
on every corner.
Yes.
You know, so it's like,
Those churches are not full, I assure you.
I mean, it may be full.
No,
So,
they're not. I've
mean,
been.
Well, I mean,
I've
a
said-
church that only sits 10 people and it got 8, that's a full church. I mean, by definition, that's a full church. So, I mean,
Okay. All right.
but go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, and I won't say that it doesn't serve a good purpose, but I don't think it's done a whole lot for us as a society.
That's a
brings
big
up-
thing to say.
It brings up a lot of animosity. It brings up a lot of judgment among us, specifically with our situation with gays and a lot of stuff. You know, even with different views about different religions. I mean, everyone wants to be their religion to be the religion, so it stirs up a lot of division.
Separatism.
among us.
Okay.
So a lot of people are fighting. A lot of people are drawing lines in the sand about their religion. So it hasn't done a whole lot of good in a broad sense of society. But I mean, of course, we all know that there's always wisdom and love and everything that's being taught in the religion. But I mean, on a broader sense, it really hasn't done a lot for mankind, if you want to say it that way.
I'm inclined to believe that it's not religion that's doing that, okay? And it is the nature of human beings to wrong each other. And regardless of whatever social structure we have, we always concoct some type of way to separate ourselves from each other. Now, if you have a spiritual relationship, so that we start talking about religion, you have to talk about the spiritual relationship. Am I in one with God? What does that mean, though? That's very relative based on who you're talking to. But I'm one with God, and I'm believing God, and I'm trusting God, and what's wrong with that?
Well, I think what I'm asking about specifically, I guess let's define what religion then is
Yes,
versus
please.
spirituality. What I like to think of religion is basically a set of rules that says you have to do certain things a certain way. So,
Yeah.
so
That's
you
the best
put
way
basically you put rules over spirituality. So everybody has their own spirituality. The Buddhists, the Muslims, Christians, everybody. And then their religion says this is the way to do it, or this is how to do
Set
it.
of traditions. Yeah.
So, and then that's
A
what
doctrine.
which is right, and that's how we come up with thousands of different denominations, in the same. It's almost like an umbrella. So, like the Baptist, so a Baptist.
Christians.
Well, Christians, yeah, absolutely Christians, and then we have several denominations under that. But even those denominations have denominations. So, I mean, you have the
First Baptist, Second Baptist, full
full
Baptist,
gospel, and Southern gospel and all this kind of stuff. So you have, and these are basically the religions, these denominations. So that's how I separate religion from spirituality. So the question, I guess, better stated, is these sets of rules that we're imposing over spirituality, is it serving us? Is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? Is it helping us to further along ourselves as human beings, or is it hurting us?
I'm inclined to believe that it's helping, because we need a moral compass guiding us on which way to go and which ways not to go. And that can be self-governing. It's not about the rules that everyone else sets, but it's self-governing. It tells me that I want to be kind to my brother. I want to lend a helping hand to my sister. I'm not going to berate my elders. I'm going to, those type
So
of.
you need a rule.
It's not a rule. It's a
Well,
moral compass is what I'm saying.
So you don't think moral compasses exist outside of religion?
No, I'm not saying that.
I'm asking. No, I'm
I think
seriously.
you're being combative.
I'm not.
Well, you have to see things
you
from
see what
different
I'm saying?
angles.
No.
Yeah, you have to see it from different angles. You know, you look at you put an atheist in the same room with a Christian.
Oh, Lord. Or even a
and
Muslim.
You're going to automatically expect the Christian to behave better than the atheist. But usually when the Christian finds out that the other person is an atheist, there's always a line drawn just immediately. Like, oh, something's wrong with you. You're not.
I love God.
You know what I'm saying?
You don't love
You know what I'm
God?
saying?
What's wrong with you?
So
You don't love God?
that's my thing. I mean, when we talk about this this topic, it's hard to. Sometimes you have to step back from religion to be a human. Sometimes,
Wow.
So sometimes the ideals that you get in your head that come from the person you feel is an authority over you spiritually may not necessarily be the truth. Okay. Or like we said, in situations like Jim Jones, the person that's talking to you, giving you your spiritual, feeding you spiritually, may not be the right food for you.
But the
you
word
go
of
out-
God says you have to study the word to show thyself approved.
Well, you're still
Now,
talking
how
about
often does that happen?
right, and you're still talking about moral compasses. So then, how would you explain then, say, an atheist, a person who doesn't have a religion, or just a person that doesn't have a religion, however they define themselves,
More
who's-
agnostic.
yeah, or just hasn't been in any type of organized religion. How do you explain the good behavior of that person?
Don't you think that we have the ability, innately to be good as well as bad?
I wholeheartedly agree. So then it all comes down to a choice, then not religion. So we don't.
It's social learning. Okay, you learn through your social environment.
But learning is not innate. So you just said innate. So
Yes, that I did. So it is innate, and there's also things that are learned. So
Absolutely.
if we have this good that dwells in us, there's also possibility for the bad that dwells in us. And then we learn to differentiate between the two, which is good, which is bad. Because again, the story is told. How do we know that there's the good and the evil? I feel like I just read a book about that. There's good, there's evil. But really, is it that possible that evil really won and told you that that was good? And because they are the victor, they can say, yeah, this is good. Just as we have a war and the victors in their textbooks talk about how wonderful they were and what they overcame. But those who did not win are talking about the pain, the hurt, and how they were malicious and how they were overpowering them and they were brutes.
Well, you're just proving that all that's relative. That's all
Exactly.
you're doing. You're just proving that. So it doesn't necessarily mean you have to have a particular religion to be a good person.
I didn't say that. You don't have to have a particular
or
religion.
do you have to have one? Period.
Oh, here we go.
I mean, because that's my question.
Should we have a religion?
Or is
Because you think
it
it's doing any good?
Yeah, is it doing any good? So do we need religion to help us, our end result, be something different than somebody else who is in religion or in a religious denomination or whatever? How does, as far as being a good person and having a moral compass and stuff like that, if it's an innate thing that we have to be good and or bad, then that's going to still exist in or outside of the religion.
Okay.
So what purpose then is religion serving?
It goes back to what I said at the beginning, that it forges a sense of community, camaraderie, family, a support structure, a sounding board, a safe haven. All those things is
I
what.
think that's what it probably should be doing, but I can't say currently that that's what's happening, or at least
among themselves.
Yeah.
Within that group.
Yeah.
That isolated group of that particular religion.
You don't believe that's happening?
No, I'm saying it may be happening in the group.
Well, wouldn't that
Within the
still
group.
be necessary?
Well, from what I understand, our religion, specifically Christianity, we're supposed to be outward.
Mm-hmm.
We're reaching other people.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're not treating the people in our group the same way we're treating the people outside the group, then that negates the need for the religion in some sense, correct?
And also, that's still separatism. If we're, that goes back to the race thing we're talking about. It's just like we're in our black community, and we have our stage and we have our stuff, and we're black, but we don't really like white people, or vice versa, or we're not really accepting of white people now, or something that's closer to home. We're in our churches. We have our stages. We're good among ourselves. But when a gay person comes in, we start to look funny and we start to treat them differently. I'm really at the belief that the whole gay revolution thing that has happened has been a result of stuff like that, or at least is seeded in stuff that started
What stuff?
the non-acceptance of
Okay.
particular lifestyles, be it gay, be it skin color, be it whatever lifestyle you're leading.
Clubbing,
Yeah.
drinking,
Yeah,
smoking,
the whole nine,
all that,
the whole nine.
fornicating.
I mean, when you address it on Sunday morning, your pastor is the person that's your leader, the person that gives you your spiritual understanding. If he's always speaking about his homosexual people in a negative connotation, you're gonna always have negative thoughts about that person that you meet in your life down the line that has that lifestyle.
Well, here's a shameless plug. At Abundant Life Cathedral, we have a no judgment zone. My pastor loves everybody, preaches to everybody, and welcomes people. We're not going to give you damnation when God didn't come for that. If you believe in what Christianity is based on, he didn't come to condemn the world. So we have taken on something that's separate from what is being taught. We have and I don't know what that even is. If we're supposed to love our brothers as ourselves, he said, how can you love God whom you have not seen and hate your brother who you see every day? But that's what we do in the church every day, hating. And we talk about don't hate the sin, not the sinner. No, if you hating it all, that's what you're doing. You have hate on everything. So we have a more of an embracive type of environment. I'm gonna love you, but you can't make everybody see that. Can't make everybody to think that. So that's the goal of this community found within the religion.
And that's great
Oh, here we go.
at your church. And I'm not even being funny. I'm serious. That's actually really good. That's a really good thing. And I think I think all churches should be like that. The fact of the matter, it's not. What we hear more so than the story that you just told is what Edwin was just talking about, where we hear preachers preaching against homosexuality and homosexual people. The lifestyle, talking about it's a sin.
How
You
can
get
we
that?
preach against people when I have always been taught, again, in the Christian community, that sin is sin in the eyesight of God. None is greater than the other. So just because yours is overt and mine is covert does not make them lesser or greater. They're the same in God's eyes. So if I'm smoking and drinking, I ain't said I was, but if I was smoking and drinking, what is that different than the homosexual?
And let me okay. I wholeheartedly agree with you, but let me tell you the argument.
Okay.
On the other side, what happens is things like the gay lifestyle and like what a lot of preachers I hear and a lot of Christians I hear, they like to go to the scripture in Leviticus. 18,
The law, huh?
Well, yeah, about homosexuality being an abomination.
Uh-huh.
So what they, in essence, are doing are saying that there are certain sins that are worse than others, which again goes against what you just said. Now, the problem with that, besides it being saying one sin is worse than the other in God's eye, the other problem with that is that there are other sins in the Bible that are mentioned as abominations.
Right.
Eating meat, like eating
Shrimp?
shrimp or something like that. Women, messing with women on their
Menstrual cycle.
stuff like that. We're not talking about that stuff. We picked homosexuality. So you
Right.
see you see the bias of what I'm saying here.
And
so,
that in itself is a sin.
but that's what
I
we've
think
done.
that people
you
are
know?
missing that. As you persecute your brother and point fingers at your brother, you are sinning. Let him without sin. I don't have no rocks to throw. That's all I'm saying.
I don't think
because-
any of us do.
Well, I'm admitting it, okay? I don't have any rocks to throw. And if I see some pebbles, I'm going to go ahead and kick them pebbles out the way, honey, because I have no room for that in my life.
Absolutely.
Because I'm just being real with myself.
Yeah, it's
And
a
that goes back to what I said earlier. Sometimes you need to take yourself out of their religion to be human, because sometimes you start to have these impossible expectations on a person. You expect them to always be perfect. They can't never do anything wrong. As soon as they do something wrong, we jump on them. You did this wrong. You're a sinner, and blah 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 blah. And you're supposed to understand that being a human, everyone's going to make mistakes. But you're not allowing anyone in your life to make mistakes.
or in your church.
Yeah, anytime someone makes a mistake,
Right.
they get ostracized.
Cast them out, put them
Yeah.
out, honey.
So
Right.
They got to go.
I mean, if we've all sinned and fall short of glory, we already know that we're going to sin, we're going to fail, we're not going to be perfect. So why is it that we have these high standards on those that are Christian or what we call the saints, and it's impossible to be perfect. And
The thing about these standards too, what makes them worse is that preachers and churches and Christians, and I'm sure they do it in other religions as well, but they try to put scripture behind them
To justify.
to justify them and support them.
Right.
Which my issue with that, I always have an issue with that, because just like I think what we were talking about the race stuff on one of our other shows, where I mentioned that the KKK is a religious organization.
Mm-hmm.
They have their interpretation of what the scripture says, and to them means one thing. To us, it means something else. To somebody else, it means something else. So, whose rules should we follow? Are the KKK people right? Just because, I mean, to us, we've labeled stuff as hating other races and stuff bad because we've labeled that as bad. But at the same time, they've labeled stuff as bad that we do as well. To them, it's bad to be black. I suppose I don't really know what the whole
Or the
thing
sons
is.
of Ham, the descendants of Ham.
Right,
The
so-
dark-skinned brother.
Right. So I mean, it's just a whole plethora of like just craziness. I'm just getting back to my original question. That's why I always come back to: is it good? Is it doing us any good? Is it serving us as humans based on all of the facts that we just brought out here? And what we're saying, can we look at religion over the course of history up until our current state right now and say that it has been a good thing for us?
I have to fervently continue to adamantly say yes. Yes, yes, and yes again, because it offered so much. And I think that we've lost that focus. But particularly in the black community, it offered camaraderie. It offered a Sunday meal, fellowship, love and support, a place to go where you could be free to be you. And that's quickly fading. And the church attendance is dropping. But so crime rates and what we call abominations are rising. So does that tell me that if people are not going to church anymore, is that a problem? You don't see?
No, I really disagree with that.
Okay.
I feel things are more upfront now than they were. Things have changed. Our society has changed. Technology is bringing us into a new age that we are just learning how to deal with. A lot of things are more visible. The fact that you see more gays coming out is because they feel comfortable to come out. It's not that they've never been there.
Because Uncle Joe was the one they called funny
Right, 'cause
back in the day.
I mean,
so
'cause
you know
when you-
my Uncle Funny, but
Yeah.
he wasn't telling jokes.
I mean, because I don't want to fight you on your point, but to kind of negate it, when you think about it, most of the gay people that we know in our society have come out of the church. So if they're all in the
True.
church, and you can't say that the church is what's keeping that down. You know what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
So,
Or what has kept it down in
Right.
the
Well,
past.
I
right,
wasn't
yeah.
saying that homosexuality is because people don't go to church anymore.
no, I'm just saying.
Okay,
Well,
I just
you
wanna make that
alluded to
clear.
that certain things are on the rise, certain things, and I guess I may have misunderstood you, but it sounded like what you were saying was the point you were making is that religion did have a purpose, and now that things are fading off, as you put it, certain things or certain crimes and stuff like that are on the rise. And are you
I
attributing
don't
that
consider
to
homosexuality a crime. Now, back in the day, it
well
was.
sin? Okay,
Yeah.
It ain't no crime.
well, sin, crime, abomination, however you want to.
Right. I mean, because you know,
Please don't call it
if you get
abomination.
beheaded for being gay, and you're not gonna say nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, for real.
That's gonna straighten you up.
Right. Like, whoa, hey, baby.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't think I'm gonna go find me.
I'm not looking.
Exactly.
Jokes, people, just jokes.
Okay,
Just
but
jokes.
no,
Just jokes.
seriously. No, but women were stoned for being thought to have had
Sure.
some type of sexual relationship outside of marriage. But the man wasn't stoned. But that's a whole nother story. We're going to talk about that later. Believe me, look for it. All right.
So I guess what I'm hearing you both say is you're on the side that religion has
Still has a purpose.
and still has a purpose. You're saying, Edwin, maybe not so much so.
Not so much. I mean, a lot of wars have started over religion.
Sure, the Christian Crusades.
Well, pretty much every major war we've had on Earth, at the center of, seriously speaking, like somewhere at the center of it has been some type of religious idea. From, I mean, the Holocaust. I mean, everything. Any type of war you can name, some type of religious idea has been at the center of it. Period.
Okay.
So it's really hard. I guess there is another side of it to look at. I kind of see it when we have conversations about certain like Greek organizations and their relevance and stuff. Like now, I kind of see it the same way. I think at a time, I think it did serve a purpose. I think just like religion, I think there was during the time, like maybe what you were alluding to, maybe during slavery and stuff like that, where people didn't have anything else to kind of set as their ideal, to look up to or look forward to or to give them hope. I think religion and religious ideas provided that.
Okay.
And I think that's a great thing. And I think that helped us to evolve rather, to where we are and where we've become to where we are today. So we want to know what you guys think. Look,
Please tell us what you think.
listen, if you've been a part of religion, which I'm sure most of you may have, I'm not sure, or even if you're not, we want your perspective as well. Let us know, what do you think about religion? Has it, served us as a people, as a community?
As human beings.
As human beings, has it served us in any kind of way? And is it still relevant today to our lifestyles? Listen, I want to thank the people here on the show today with me. We have Miss Katrina Reese and Mr. Edwin Brown over there. And listen, if you guys have a topic of discussion you want to suggest to us or a question you want to ask, you can always email us at newthoughttalkshow.com. That's newthoughttalkshow.com. And we'll try to get one of your questions on our next show. Thank you again, and we'll see you guys in the next video.
Be careful.